Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Bill Maher has officially entered gladiator mode in the arena of woke absurdity, and this time, he's got his sights locked on Whoopi Goldberg. No stranger to controversy, Whoopi's recent string of baffling statements seemed destined to catch Maher's attention. And catch it they did. What followed wasn't some lazy jab or lukewarm critique. It was a full-on intellectual demolition, with Maher delivering blow after blow like a stand-up philosopher with a vendetta. If Goldberg expected a slap on the wrist, what she got instead was a verbal grand piano dropped from 10 stories high. So, what did Whoopi say that triggered Maher's verbal blitzkrieg? And why has the woke contingent been left staggering in its wake? Strap in, this ride has no brakes.
We've got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more...
The moment Whoopi stepped into this ideological brawl, it was clear she was playing with fire. After Sunny Hostin took a swing at Maher and promptly got intellectually leveled, you'd think The View would have retreated and regrouped. Instead, Whoopi entered the fray like a late-season reality show contestant desperate for screen time. If Sunny was the warm-up act, Whoopi was billed as the main event, but instead of fireworks, we got flailing arms and muddled talking points. It looked less like a defense of ideals and more like damage control by committee. And Maher, he sharpened his sarcasm like a blade.
Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
As expected, Whoopi didn't bring clarity, she brought chaos. Maher was pointing out a simple, grounded reality. Black Americans, like everyone else, care deeply about economic opportunity, public safety, and jobs that actually pay. But rather than address that, Whoopi conjured up a bizarre tangent about supporting a former prosecutor, claiming that somehow proved political substance. It was like responding to a fire alarm by knitting a sweater, nonsensical and wildly off-topic. She wasn't countering Maher. She was auditioning for a role in a drama no one was watching.
Down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no, it's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are...
Maher wasn't in the mood for polite deflection. He called it exactly as he saw it, a train wreck of logic. And with The View's daily descent into punditry, purgatory, it's not hard to see why. With Whoopi and Sunny in the conductor's seat, the show teeters between performance art and political parody. It's less a talk show and more a theater of the absurd. When Charlemagne Thagard guest-starred, his expression seemed to scream, "Is this an intervention or an improv class gone rogue?" Either way, he looked like he wanted a life.
Is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time and, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on...
To understand the powder keg behind all this, we've got to rewind. President Biden, champion of accountability, just pardoned his own son, Hunter Biden, after the man was caught red-handed in a scandal so blatant, it made Watergate look like a clerical error. And while the press corps twisted themselves into knots to justify it, Charlemagne called it like it was. If no one is above the law, then Hunter shouldn't be the exception. But try telling that to Whoopi, who seemed more committed to shielding the Bidens than pursuing consistency. It's hypocrisy on full display, bold, bizarre, and broadcastlive.net.
Stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a
No,
sudden?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else.
Then came the moment that sealed Whoopi's spot as queen of cognitive contortions. She actually had the audacity to claim that Biden hadn't lied. No, No, he merely, what? Adjusted his stance. Had a change of heart mid-scandal. Her defense was so flimsy it made wet tissue look like Kevlar. It's one thing to defend a friend. It's another to pretend reality is a matter of personal taste. But Whoopi, she stared down facts like they were optional dessert items on a menu she never ordered from.
Nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is a...
Whoopi, explain away political contradictions, is like watching someone insist the sun rises in the west loud wrong, and entirely unbothered by facts. Even Charlemagne's face betrayed disbelief, like he was watching a live demonstration of how not to win a debate. And yet, Whoopi pushed forward, claiming Biden might have been just tired of people getting over on him. If this was a courtroom, she'd have been cited for contempt of logic. Her mental gymnastics might win style points for effort, but every landing ended in a pratfall.
I'm just gonna follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out.
They're
They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. They don't.
There's the real problem with woke gatekeeping. It's only enforced when the opposition messes up. If one of their own stumbles, the outrage machine grinds to a suspicious halt. Suddenly, moral clarity turns into a blurry photo and the Twitter mobs go silent. That was the case, here Charlemagne called it out. But Whoopi and her crew papered it over with word salad and self-righteous sighs. But once Maher got wind of their selective outrage, the gloves came off. What followed was not just a rebuttal, it was an expose next.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit.
The hypocrisy without flinching. Everyone agrees, Hunter Biden's scandal stinks. To high heaven, but because his father holds the White House. Suddenly the rules shift. Maher pointed out the obvious. If a conservative's kid had pulled the same stunt, the press would be in full-blown moral meltdown. But Hunter, he got the velvet rope treatment. Maher didn't sugarcoat it, he called it a travesty. A sham wrapped in privilege and sealed with media complicity. It was the kind of truth bomb the mainstream just isn't built to handle.
Appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden.
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course, you don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No,
The media's role in shielding. The Bidens was like watching a magician distract the crowd while hiding the rabbit under the table. For months, they dismissed Hunter's laptop scandal as Russian disinfo. Never mind the pile of receipts growing larger by the day. Whoopi, naturally, parroted the talking points on Kumakwing the allegations like a seasoned propagandist. But Maher wasn't buying it. He slammed the double standard and made it clear. Pretending the truth doesn't exist doesn't make it disappear. It just makes you a willing participant in the cover dash up.
Above any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be.
At this point, The View has drifted so far from genuine debate, it might as well be rebranded as the Viewpoint Enforcement Agency. Maher didn't just push back, he exposed the cast as ideological gatekeepers in talk show drag. Whoopi, in particular, came off not as a champion of nuance, but as the enforcer of a worldview where dissent is treated as heresy. Their debates aren't discussions. They're loyalty tests. And Maher, he flunked their test and proudly wore that F like a badge of honor.
Run for office as if the voters don't live here. As if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office. But they do. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Black people, they're just like us.
And just when the echo chamber couldn't echo any louder, Maher dropped the real bomb. Trump won, and not because of Russian bots or space lasers or dark magic. He won because millions of Americans found his message more relatable than the sanctimony of woke elites. Maher dared to say what so many in liberal circles won't. In a democracy, sometimes your side loses. It's not a betrayal, it's the system functioning. And pretending otherwise just makes you look like a sore loser in designer outrage.
It's a coalition of Trump voters, people who really like him. They certainly are those. And then there's people who don't necessarily like him that much, but they still think he's less crazy than stuff that strikes them as aggressively anti-com.
By the end, Maher had done more than just challenge Whoopi. He dissected her platform, piece by piece, and left it in ideological rubble. The View's high priestess of progressive orthodoxy swung at Maher expecting applause and got steamrolled by facts instead. Maher wasn't rude, he was relentless. Every jab was laced with biting truth and delivered with comedic precision. It wasn't just a takedown, it was a satire masterclass disguised as a mic drop.
Next, stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
And just to twist the knife, Maher highlighted the absurdity of a show that touts itself as a haven for diverse opinions while punishing anyone who dares think differently. Watching him expose the contradictions was like watching Banksy paint, live with sarcasm for spray paint and a canvas made of contradictions. That's it for this one. If you enjoyed watching ideological house cards collapse in slow motion, hit that subscribe button and get ready for the next round.